Welcome to Hatha Yoga. My name is Michelle Chua. For this practice, you'll want to have 2 yoga blocks. You can see them behind me in a strap. If you like, you can also have a pillow or a blanket to start seated in hero's pose. Now, with every posture, there are many variations, as many of you know, and if a particular version of a pose or even a pose itself is not appropriate for your body for any reason, please do adjust yourself so you're not straining or causing injury, where you can feel balanced in effort and ease. So this is hero's pose. This is one version of it, where you set the knees in front of you, no wider than hips distance, and point the toes back. I'm sitting up on a block here, which can make it easeful for the knees. Take a moment to scan the space that you're practicing in and help to regulate your nervous system, to calm, by just taking in whatever colors, textures, and forms in your environment that are appealing to your eyes. Making a conscious transition into your yoga practice from whatever you were doing just before. During our beach yoga practice, Connecting with Nature this weekend, I talked about a book written by Masaru Emoto, who is a Japanese, he's in the area of mind, body, spirit practices, and he wrote a book called The Hidden Messages in Water. You might know about it. While there's some conflicts arising about his experimentation, I'd like to share it with you as food for thought. So his experiment was about noting how thoughts and words, human consciousness and intention affect the molecules of water. So he used different setups. One of them was he labeled different containers of water with words varying from words you might deem peaceful and loving, like I love you, or happiness, or thank you, and words that you might deem as negative, such as I hate you, or I will kill you. And he noticed when he looked at the molecules of the water under a microscope that there was a pattern in the words of each of the 2 categories. The ones that were more positive words had molecules shaped like mandalas. They are very symmetrical and cohesive and harmonious, appealing to the eyes. And the words that were negative or violent or aggressive were fragmented. The molecules were fragmented and asymmetrical. And so he came to the conclusion, and there were different experiments that he did. He came to the conclusion that our thoughts, our words, our human consciousness and intentions do affect the molecules of water. And now when you think about the human body, the percentages vary per person. I've heard 60% of our body is water, 70%, or much less than that. But we have a lot of water in our bodies. And our thoughts and spoken words are contributing to the health of the water in our bodies, which then in turn affect our organs and our molecular structure and everything. So how are your thoughts contributing to your well-being? What are the kinds of thoughts that you allow to repeat by giving those thoughts your attention, or even acting on those thoughts, or even accepting those thoughts as beliefs that turn into your reality, your perspective? In the Yoga Sutras, in the 8 limbs of yoga, the second limb of yoga outlines 5 practices in which we connect regularly to our inner being, our true nature. And one of those practices is called brahmacharya. A general translation of this is being intentional and wise with your energy. How you harness, cultivate, direct, shift, flow your energy. And if you think about it, everything affects our energy. The food you eat, how you eat, when you eat, what you eat, conversations and company that you keep, the stimuli that you allow yourself to take in, especially on a regular basis, whether it be social media or the news that you watch. Everything affects our energy. So how can we bring the mindfulness of aligning our physical bodies in yoga poses into the mindfulness of aligning ourselves in everyday life with the kinds of stimuli that we choose to affect our energy and even how we direct our energy? So food for thought. You can look up his experiments, Emoto's experiments, the hidden messages in water. And I'd like to hear what you have to say about it. And with that, let's begin our practice of yoga. As you're sitting still, let the body relax and feel alert. Begin to scan your physical body, noticing any sensations that you're working with as you start your practice. Sense the quality of your breath without changing the breath. Thereby noticing your energy. Notice your mind and the kinds of thoughts you have been giving your attention to or saying out loud. How are you feeling mentally and emotionally? Now let the breath in slower through the nose. Very slowly through the mouth. Exhale. Inhale a little bit deeper as you press down into the surface you're sitting on. Exhale, clarity. Lifting up tall through your crown. Continue to deepen your breath. And I invite you to notice anything that you appreciate in this present moment. And from that, even slightly uplifted vibration, now clarify an intention for your practice. Saying the words mentally out loud of what it is that you want to invite into your experience or practice embodying, strengthening within yourself. Thinking of our greater community, I invite you to choose someone to dedicate your practice to, making an offering of your efforts with loving kindness. Let's join our voices to create resonance, sending our intentions and dedications out and within by chanting Om 3 times. As you continue to slow the breath down, let's start to balance the length of inhales with exhales and begin regulating our mind and bodies into a feeling state of calm and focus by practicing Ujjayi Pranayama, victorious breathing. So as you lengthen and balance the breath, close the lips if it's available for you, so you're just breathing through the nose, and softly narrow the back of your throat. So you're creating and listening to a gentle, steady whispering sound. Use that sound as a way to focus your mind in the present, listening to the breath, as well as to regulate your energy. So if you hear that sound become abrupt or violent or shallow, that's an indicator for you personally to slow down your body, adjust what you're doing with it, or take rest so that you can come back to that even, calm, whispering sound in the breath. So see if you can keep that going and take one of your blocks. Let's come down onto our backs, set the block aside, We're going to begin with gentle movement, as today's focus is going to be bringing the hip flexors or the hips into extension. Last week we practiced on forward folds, which was hips in flexion. So we're going to do the opposite of that today, leading into back bends. So start with your feet hips width apart, parallel to each other. Actually, let's use the block here and hug the skinniest width between your knees and thighs firmly. Now you can separate the feet as wide apart as the knees and bring your arms close to your sides. Walk your feet back until you can almost touch your heels with your fingertips, but not quite that close. Ground your shoulders, tilt your chin back, and press the four corners of each foot into the ground. Now we're going to lift the pelvis up really slowly to whatever height you can, all the way to the top of the inhalation. And then the exhalation, we're going to slowly lower the upper back, middle back, tailbone 3 times. So it's 1 breath each, moving bridge pose. So try to breathe really slowly. Let's prepare. Press down through the feet and shoulders. Keep the arms by your sides and inhale, tilt your tailbone up. Lengthen the front of your thighs forward as you lift the hips. Find the peak of the inhalation as you lift the pelvis. Feet stay still, chest rises. And with an exhalation, carefully lower upper back, middle back, and eventually pelvis. Twice more. Maybe go even slower. Inhale, tilt the tailbone up, then lift the pelvis. As you hug the block, spiral your inner thighs slightly towards the ground. Keep your feet still, but imagine the feeling of dragging them back as you stretch the fronts of the thighs forward. While exhaling, imagine releasing each vertebra to the ground one at a time, really slow movements, which is also strengthening for your core muscles. Last one on your own, Setu Bandha Sarvangasana, bridge pose. So as you're hugging the block, you're firming your outer hips towards your midline, which helps to stabilize your lower spine. Keep that in mind because I'll refer to that later. Now let's take the block and place it on the lowest height to start, wide across the flat part of your lower back. Bend your right knee into your chest and take hold of your right thigh or shin, whatever allows you to keep the shoulders relaxed on the floor. And as you hug the thigh closer to whatever degree, if any, you can comfortably straighten the left leg forward. Do so pressing the left heel on the ground and flexing your left foot where the toes curl back towards the shin. Avoid turning out the leg by spiraling your inner left thigh slightly towards the ground as you pressed your left big toe mound forward. Now we're targeting the area of your left hip flexors here in front. If you're not feeling much happening, you could tilt the block underneath your lower back to the second level height, maybe the tallest level height, but that might be a bit much. Tune into 3 to 5 more breaths here. As you press the instep of your left foot forward, you could circle your right foot at the ankle, stretching the ankle in both directions, or point and flex the right foot. Listen to your breath. Keep that slow, even whispering sound. And then set your 2 feet on the ground. Keep your right knee bent and hug your left thigh or shin towards you. Now, you might notice that one side of your hip flexors needs a different height than the other, just depending on how tight or open it feels. So make any adjustments you need. And maybe explore straightening the right leg forward as you press the heel into the ground and flex the right foot while pressing your right big toe mound forward and spinning your inner right thigh slightly towards the floor. Hugging the left leg closer, you might circle the foot in both directions. Maybe point and flex your left foot. Few more deep breaths. So this is a supported version of Ardha Appanasana, half version of Apanasana. One more deep breath. And set your 2 feet on the ground. Remove the block and bend your knees into your chest. Begin to rock in any direction, side to side, forward and back. Eventually making your way up onto all fours, your hands and your knees, where you stack your shoulders above your wrists, but step your knees a couple inches back behind your hips. Let's take a few rounds of cat-cow. Listen to your breath. As you inhale, slowly glide your chest forward and coil it up into cow pose. As you exhale, contract your abdomen, drop your head to round into cat pose. Keep going another 4 or so cycles of cat-cow, Vidalasana. At the end of your next exhalation, tuck your toes, lift your hips up and back into downward facing dog. Let your body be still here as you steady your gaze on one point, tuning into 3 more deep breaths. Wrap your triceps towards the ground and lift the shoulders back, hips back. Firm the belly in. Let the heels become heavier. When you've emptied the 3rd breath, walk to the front of your mat into a standing forward fold, Uttanasana. Press your fingertips on your shins, blocks or the floor, and inhale, lengthen your spine forward to a half forward fold, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Uttanasana again. Press down to your feet. Inhale, sweep your arms overhead as you rise to stand in Urdhva Hastasana, gently lifting the chest. Exhale, join your hands in prayer from your crown to your heart center. Come back to your intention, your personal prayer for your practice. And let's begin our sun salutations, offering gratitude to the sun and the source within. Inhale, sweep your arms overhead and drop the shoulders, lift your heart. Exhale, bow forward, Uttanasana. Plant your fingertips on the ground. Inhale, step your left knee behind you to a kneeling lunge and gaze up. Holding your breath, step back to plank pose, top of a push-up. As you exhale, slowly lower your knees, then your chest, then your chin in Ashtangasana. Inhale, slide forward onto your belly and draw the shoulders back into Cobra. Exhale, tuck your toes and press up, lifting the hips to downward facing dog. Inhale, step your left foot beside your left thumb, lower your right knee and gaze up. Exhale, step your right foot forward and bow. Press to your feet, inhale, rise to the top in Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, join your palms to meet your heart center. One more Surya Namaskar, C. Inhale, sweep your arms high, lift your heart high, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, bow forward, Uttanasana. Plant your fingertips. Inhale, step your right knee back. Look up, Anjaneyasana. Holding your breath, step back to plank. Exhale, Ashtangasana, lower your knees, chest, then chin. Inhale, Cobra, Bhujangasana, slide forward, draw the shoulders back. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Inhale, step your right foot beside your right thumb, lower your left knee, gaze up. Exhale, step your left foot forward and bow. Root down to rise up as you breathe in. Exhale, join your palms to meet your heart. Sun salutation A. Inhale, sweep your arms, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, half forward fold, Ardha Uttanasana. Step to your version of plank, legs straight or knees on the ground. This time exhale, glide forward and bend your elbows to hug your side ribs in Chaturanga Dandasana. Lower to the floor for Cobra or flip the toes here. and drop the shoulders for upward dog. Exhale to downward dog. Let the movement dissolve as you steady your gaze for 3 slow, mindful breaths. When you've emptied the third, walk or lightly jump to the front of your mat, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, rising up. Exhale, hands to the heart in mountain pose. Once more. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Step to plank or lightly jump to Chaturanga Dandasana. Take it to your vinyasa on your own. Pausing for 3 breaths in downward facing dog. Sensing the energy of your mind. What kinds of thoughts are you feeding right now? Where are you sending your energy by placing your attention there? When you're ready, I'll meet you at the top of your mat. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way. Saluting the sun above. Exhale, hands in prayer, saluting the source within. Let's start sun salutation B. Bring your feet together to touch. Inhale, bend your knees to touch. Sit back towards your heels in chair pose. Utkatasana. Exhale, lean forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, lengthen forward, Ardha Uttanasana. Step to plank or float to Chaturanga. Take it to your vinyasa. From downward facing dog, keep your hips leveled. Inhale, raise your right leg behind you. Exhale, quietly as you can, step the foot beside your right thumb and spin your left heel down. Inhale, rise to stand in warrior one. Ride your exhalation all the way down to enter your vinyasa, all the way through. From downward facing dog, keep your hips balanced in height. Inhale, raise your left leg behind you. Exhale, softly step the foot beside your left thumb and lower your right heel. Inhale, rise up to Virabhadrasana 1. Exhale, lower to flow into your vinyasa. Downward dog. Tune into 3 breaths, slowing them down and rebalancing them. Rebalancing your energy. When you've emptied the third, walk or float to the top with feet touching. Then inhale, lengthen to Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Bend your knees. Inhale, sit back into Utkatasana. Exhale, rise up to mountain pose. Separate your feet hips width apart. And let's step the ball of your left foot back into crescent lunge. As you bring your hands on your hips and separate your feet hips width parallel, lift the left heel of your foot high. You might bend the left knee. Direct your tailbone down. Turn both of your frontal hip bones to face forward and slightly lift your frontal hip bones as you lengthen all the way up the spine through the back of your skull. Then maybe reach the arms up, hands apart or together, relax the shoulders and steady your gaze. About 4 more breaths here. Spin your left heel down and turn to your left as you align right heel to arch of left foot. Keep the right knee bent, peaceful warrior. Flip your right palm to face up. Lift your spine and side bend towards your rear wall. Imagine breathing deeper along your right side body as you relax the shoulders down and seal your bottom front ribs towards your back. Landing your gaze, 3 more breaths. Transitioning towards a version of half moon pose, rise up to warrior 2, and then place your right fingertips forward and to the right of your right pinky toe. Drag your left foot in. As you lift it off the ground, see if this is available. Bend your left knee towards your stomach. Reach back with your left hand and catch hold of the top of your left foot. Then kick your left foot towards the back wall as you pull the foot towards your glute, pointing your left knee towards your rear wall, not the ceiling. Tack the crease of your right hip back towards your left heel and roll the left shoulder behind you, opening the chest, firm in the belly. Maybe look forward towards the left wall or up. Ardha Chandra Chapasana. About 4 more deep breaths here. Steady gaze. Slowly straighten your left leg, flexing the foot. And with a slow exhalation, step back to peaceful warrior. Left foot lands, right palm sweeps up and overhead into a side bend. Breathe in. Exhale, downward facing dog. Pause there. Long cycle of breath. Tune into how you're feeling in this moment. Let's step up to the top of the mat, bend your knees there, and inhale, roll your spine slowly upright to mountain pose. Keep your feet hips width apart and parallel. Bring your hands to your hips and step the ball of your right foot way back into crescent lunge. You might bend the right knee as you're directing your tailbone downward and slightly lifting your frontal hip bones. Square your hips evenly to face your front wall. Then raise your arms, relax your shoulders. 4 more deep breaths. Spin your right heel down, align your left heel to the arch of your right foot. Open your arms, keep your left knee bent above the ankle and flip the left palm to face up. Peaceful warrior, lift your spine, then side bend towards your rear wall. Landing your eyes, relax your shoulders, hug your front ribs in, and breathe down your left side body. Inhale, rise to warrior 2. Exhale, transition to half moon. Plant the left fingertips, upper left corner from your left pinky toe. Maybe use a block. Flex your right foot off the floor and try this. Bend your right knee towards your belly. Reach the top of your right foot with your right hand. Kick the foot towards the rear wall as you pull the foot towards your glute. Pointing your right knee towards the back wall, roll your right shoulder back and engage your abdomen as you turn the chest to your right. Steady your gaze and tune into about 4 more breaths in Ardha Chandra Chapasana. Straighten your right leg, flexing the foot in Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose. Then gently step back into peaceful warrior, entering 1 inhalation as you sweep the left arm overhead. Exhale, downward facing dog. Pause, a long cycle of breath. Check in. How's your body communicating to you right now? And how are you responding? Keep your hips leveled. Inhale, raise the right leg behind you. Exhale, bend the knee towards your nose. Step the foot gently beside your right thumb and lower your left knee. Imagine scissoring the legs as you inhale, rise up, and gently begin to coil your chest up. Now, imagine that you're dragging the right foot back without moving it as you rotate your left outer hip slightly forward so the hips stay squared. Lift your frontal hip bones just like we did in crescent lunge and draw the tailbone down and slightly forward. Rotate your triceps forward, draw the shoulders down the back, and imagine the area right under your shoulder blades is where you're arching your back to lift the chest and gaze, not the lower back. Anjaneyasana. Engage your belly to lift your spine vertical and stack your left hip above your left knee as we prepare for a spinal twist. Bring the right foot closer so that knee is right on top of the ankle in front of you, and cup the top of your right thigh with your right hand. Lift the left arm and inhale, lengthen your spine forward. At your waistline, exhale, begin twisting to the right, whether you choose to lower left hand inside of the leg on a block or the floor, or hook the elbow outside of the leg, joining the hands in prayer, opening the arms apart, or binding. You might even choose to lift your back knee so you're in a high lunge. Just make sure you're not turning the pelvis. You're turning the rib cage while the hips stay still. Harita Parshvakonasana. This is a variation of twisting side angle pose. Last deep breath. Please step back, downward facing dog. Slow inhale, fill up to the tops of your lungs, and let it all out. Inhale, raise your left leg back. Exhale, draw the knee towards your nose and round forward in plank. Softly step the foot beside your left thumb and lower your right knee. Isometrically drag the legs towards each other as you rise into Anjaneyasana. Draw your tailbone down and forward and slightly lift your frontal hip bones, lengthening your lower back. Just beneath your shoulder blades, coil the chest up. Draw the shoulders down. A few last breaths. Engage the belly to lift the spine and stack your right hip above your right knee and your left knee above your left ankle. Cup the top of your left thigh with your left hand. Raise the right arm and inhale, lengthen forward. Invite you to enter the same version of the twist as you took on the first side. Right hand down inside the leg, maybe on a block, or hook the elbow outside your thigh and join your hands in prayer. Open the arms apart or bind. Maybe you lift the back knee. Then stabilize your legs and hips. Inhale, lengthen the spine further forward. Draw your shoulders down your back. Exhale, keep the hips squared and rotate your rib cage some more. 3 more breaths. Look at your left foot and please step back to downward facing dog. Inhale, raise your right leg behind you. And exhale, step the foot beside your right thumb. Take your strap. Step the left heel or set the left heel down, warrior 1. Inhale to rise up. So with strap in hand, take a moment here to again square your hips forward. You're rotating the inner left thigh towards the back wall, straightening the left leg as you ground the outer heel. While bending the front knee over the ankle, you're lifting the frontal hip bones, long spine, deep breaths. Join your hands in prayer with strap in hand and tilt your torso forward just to hover the belly on top of the right thigh. Keep your hips squared, entering warrior 3. Flex the left foot and rotate left outer hip down. Hug your hips towards your midline and grow the spine forward. How's the breath? As you start to lift the torso upright, stay on your right foot, bend the left knee towards your chest. Like you did lying down, step the ball of the left foot into the strap. Hold the strap with left arm or left hand, and then bend your left knee to hug your right knee. Right hand on the hip. Draw the tailbone down towards the inner right heel. So you're holding the strap as close to the left foot as you can. If you can hold the inside of your left foot or ankle, you don't need the strap. Keep drawing the tailbone down, keep squaring the hips forward as you kick the foot behind you, like you're re-entering Warrior 3. Pull the foot towards you and roll the shoulders back. Feel the bend in your back from right under the shoulder blades, raising your right arm in dancer pose or standing bow. You can start to tilt the torso forward while lifting your heart. Last 3 breaths. Slowly step back into Warrior 1. Lower your hands, downward facing dog. Pause, listen to a full cycle of breath. Inhale, raise your left leg back. Exhale, step it lightly beside left thumb. Spin the right heel down for Warrior 1 and take your strap as you rise up to stand. Bring your hands to your hips. Square the hips forward, straighten the back leg, and bend the front knee. Just feel the slight lift of your lower belly. Steadying your breath and gaze, join your hands at your heart and tilt your torso to hover just above the left thigh in Degasana. Then shift forward and lift the right leg from the inseam, Warrior 3. Flex your right foot as you turn the right outer hip to face down and tack your left outer hip back, drawing your torso forward. A few more breaths. Slowly lift your torso, standing on your left foot, bend the right knee towards your belly. Keep flexing the foot and step the ball of your right foot into the strap. Hold the strap with your right hand and bend your right knee to hug the left hand on your left hip. Direct your tailbone down towards your inner left heel and continue to slightly lift your frontal hip bones. How's the breath? Keep directing your right outer hip to face forward as you kick the foot back, pull it towards you. Hold the strap as close to your right foot as possible or hold your inner right foot or ankle. As you kick the foot away and pull it towards you, lift your left arm and coil your chest up from right under the shoulder blades like you practiced in your kneeling lunge, Anjaneyasana. Deep breaths here in dancer pose or standing bow. Another three breaths. When you're ready, this time, step into mountain pose. Join your hands in prayer and tune in for a couple slow breaths. Notice your energy right now. Sense how you're affecting your energy body through how you've approached your practices. Let's come on down to sit. We've already practiced quite a few active back bends, so let's help to neutralize the spine in a seated twist. Straighten your left leg forward and step your right foot on the floor in front of your right hip or crossed outside of your left knee, where you might also bend your left knee. Place your right hand behind your pelvis, root your sitting bones down, and lengthen your spine up while relaxing your shoulders down. Deep breath in as you raise the left arm. Exhale, begin to turn your ribcage to the right while keeping your hips still. Then lower the left arm to hold your right leg or hook the elbow outside that thigh. Continue to twist for 4 more breaths. As you unwind your spine, straighten the left leg forward and turn out your right thigh, placing the sole of your right foot high up against your inner left thigh for Janu Shirshasana. Raise the arms, turn your chest to face your left pinky toe. You might opt to use a strap and hold that between the hands. Flex the left foot, sit tall, breathe in, and then towards your left pinky toe, bow from the hips, breath by breath. If not a strap, you can hold on to your left foot. Try to keep a slight lift in your chest and your throat open as you draw the shoulders back. Press down to your pelvis. Breathe in. Slowly lift your chest, rising up. Now let's straighten the right leg. Step the left foot on the ground and try to set up in your twist similarly. Foot in front of the hip or crossed outside the right knee. Maybe also bend your right knee. Place the left hand behind your pelvis. Raise your right arm up. Root down to rise up as you breathe in. Exhale, begin twisting to your left. Lower your right arm to hold your left leg or hook your elbow outside the thigh. 4 more deep breaths. As you empty the next breath, unwind your spine and straighten the right leg forward. Bring the sole of your left foot high against your inner right thigh for Janu Shirshasana. Maybe use a strap around the ball of your right foot. Flex your right foot, press the sitting bones down, and breathe in. Sit tall, direct your chest towards your right pinky toe. Exhale, begin to hinge forward from the hips. Keep a slight lift in the chest. Breath by breath, easing in to your forward fold. So you'll notice this forward fold, we're bringing your hip flexors into flexion, whereas much of our practice earlier with the back bends and the bow pose, we were bringing them into extension. So here we're bringing some balance into the physical practice. Press down through the pelvis, breathe in to slowly lift up. And let's extend both legs forward for Paschimottanasana. Straighten both legs, flex your feet, sit tall, maybe use a strap around the balls of your feet. Otherwise, raise the arms, breathe in, lift through both ends of your spine or lengthen the spine. And then exhale, extend your heart forward, bowing from the hips, breath by breath. Breathe in, lift the chest, draw the shoulders down the back. Keep the chest slightly lifted and then continue to bow for 4 more breaths. Press the pelvis down and slowly lead from the heart. Inhale to rise. I invite you either into shoulder stand, traditional way, or supported shoulder stand, placing a block under the flat part of your lower back, which I'll show you first. Lifting the hips like we did at the start, placing the block wide across your sacrum, lift your legs straight up. This is supported shoulder stand. It's a cooling, restorative posture that relaxes your nervous system and stimulates your digestion and circulation. If you're free of neck issues and know how to practice traditional shoulder stand, feel free to take that for about 5 to 10 breaths on your own. Salamba Sarvangasana. You might also move into plow from traditional shoulder stand, halasana, legs overhead. Whether you're in plow or traditional shoulder stand, make sure you're protecting your neck. You do not want to flatten the back of your neck on the ground. Tilt your chin back enough to maintain the curvature and the space between your neck and the floor. Also, make sure not to turn your head side to side when you're in shoulder stand or plow. Allow maybe 3 more breaths in whichever cooling inversion you chose. And then start to lower your legs to the floor. Remove any prop under your body. Straighten the legs forward, bring the feet together and relax for fish pose. Slip your palms face down under your glutes. Let your thumbs touch. Lift your chin until whatever your capacity is. Maybe you bring the crown of the head to the floor. And then here, inhale, imagine breathing into your whole body. Fill it up. Open your mouth wide and stick out the tongue. Exhale, lion's breath. Twice more. Gather it in. Deep breath. Open your eyes and mouth wide. Stick out the tongue. Let any sound out if you like. Ha. Last one on your own. Ha. And when you're ready, release your whole body to the floor. Draw your bent knees one more time into your chest. You might come into happy baby. Couple last cleansing, cooling exhales through the mouth, in through the nose. Longer exhales, then inhales. Help to relax the nervous system even more. Then as you're ready, slide the legs forward, the feet flop apart, and turn your palms to face up, down by your sides. Closing your eyes, find a restful position to be still in and completely let go of doing. Even in the breath, let it go. Cultivating loving presence for a few minutes in Shavasana. Resting here a little longer, come back to your physical body. Sense the way it feels now. And slowly begin to wake it up with gentle movements. Simple stretch. Eventually turning over onto your right side and resting your head for mindful pause, bringing awareness to the natural breath. Sense the way you feel now energetically. Then slowly lift your body up to a comfortable seat, preparing for 5 minutes in meditation. Remember that our physical practice of cultivating concentration and embodied presence primes us to sit here and tune in to our inner world. What goes on in our minds? Where do we put our attention on habitually? So as you're sitting now, you might bring thumb and first fingers to touch, helping to focus inward, maybe close the eyes. Allow the breath to flow naturally. And you might use the breath as your anchor to the present moment by resting your awareness gently where you feel the breath most easily in your body. With the breath in the foreground of your attention, in the background, sense where your attention also goes. You might sense sounds or thoughts or sensations. Become aware of any patterns of where your attention goes. And then bring it back to the breath if you get caught in those stories or stimuli. As you become more aware of where your attention tends to go habitually, you have more power to then choose where you want to direct your attention and thus give your energy. Remember that ultimately the practice of yoga is for your own liberation, your liberation from the conditionings of the mind, from autopilot doing, so that through that liberation you live with your true intention in alignment to your inner being. So what are some words that empower you, that you could digest and say to yourself daily, maybe as soon as you wake up in the morning? Thoughts of gratitude are surely empowering. You might offer a thought of gratitude now as you bring closure to this practice, thanking anything that you appreciate. And then, in words that are empowering, I invite you to mentally or out loud restate your intention for this practice. And then remember to whom you dedicated your practice today. Imagine them receiving your loving kindness. Let's join our voices one last time in 3 chants of Om. Bowing in, recognize the light within. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.